Good morning, everybody. It is June 27th, 2012. It is 7:51 a.m. and temperatures are pretty much near normal where we expect them to be, ranging anywhere from the mid to upper 50s over the interior and lower to mid 60s along the coast. Our humidity is still low with dew points ranging from the upper 40s to lower 50s, pretty reasonable for this time of year. And our winds are light and variable, generally from the west over southern New Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania, and light and variable over the New York City metropolitan area. So what can we expect for today? Well, let's take a look at the water vapor satellite picture, and you'll see our upper level trough continues to slowly lift north and east into the Canadian Maritimes. And notice we have all this black and red coloring over portions of Pennsylvania and building into southern New Jersey, and that's expanding into the New York City metropolitan area. That's sinking air, and that's going to be very important for our forecast for today because it's going to transport winds from the mid and upper levels down to the surface, making for breezy weather conditions once again, much like yesterday. However, unlike yesterday, because of that sinking air, our temperatures are going to be a bit warmer from the lower to mid 80s along the coast and mid to upper 80s over the interior, especially over the Philadelphia metropolitan area. So when we take a look at the mid and upper level winds over the northern mid-Atlantic, you see that they range anywhere from 45 to 70 knots, which is basically anywhere from 50 to 70 miles per hour. Now, of course, I'm not expecting 50 mile per hour winds, but these type of winds, when mixed down to the surface, will support sustained winds anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour, and expect some gusts up to 30, maybe even 35 miles per hour in urban locations where the wind will move in between the larger buildings. So if you're in New York City and it gets rather breezy in between those large buildings, you know why. All that air is being funneled in between those two large buildings, combined 10 to 20 mile per hour winds, and there's your 30 to 35 mile per hour gust. So you've been warned if you walk through one of those buildings in between those alleys and you end up getting pushed around a bit by those winds. Now, the infrared satellite picture clearly shows we have clear skies over much of the northern mid-Atlantic. We still have some clouds rotating through portions of Connecticut and Long Island, but again, no precipitation whatsoever. I'm expecting dry conditions today and tomorrow. In case you're wondering, what's left of Tropical Depression Debbie is starting to move off the Florida coast. Dry conditions will start to take hold over much of Florida as this, well, what's left of this tropical depression exits out into the Atlantic. Quite frankly, there really isn't much left of this depression. I wouldn't be surprised if it collapses altogether. So I really don't expect much of a threat from Debbie moving on forward as it becomes entrained in this cold front. As for us, well, we're going to be dealing with this high pressure system. And this high pressure system and the associated upper level ridge is going to be a major player over the northern mid-Atlantic over the next several days. Actually, for much of the East Coast, as we set up a major heat wave that is going to unfold from basically the Central Plains all the way to the East Coast. So let's take a look at the model guidance. This, of course, is the European model guidance from the Penn State EWOL website, an excellent website for weather information, especially model guidance. And here we are for this evening. You can see our upper level trough lifting north and east. We remain under a northwesterly flow aloft and at the surface, producing again windy conditions this afternoon, ranging anywhere from 10 to 20 miles per hour. But the good news is with that sinking air, you have range of temperatures anywhere from the lower to mid 80s along the coast, mid to upper 80s away from the coast. Now tomorrow, notice our ridge is starting to build. Now the hottest temperatures are going to be focused, and we can see this at 850 millibars, over the Mississippi River Valley. We're talking about temperatures over 100 degrees for highs easily, okay? But that hot air mass is going to expand. Warm air likes to expand, and it's going to do so towards the East Coast. And you can see at the mid-levels we have winds basically from the heart of that very hot air mass being driven right into the northern mid-Atlantic. And that's going to mean our temperatures are going to warm up nicely, especially for tomorrow, with temperatures returning into the upper 80s to lower 90s along the coast and lower to mid 90s away from the coast. In fact, the Philadelphia metropolitan area has been issued a heat advisory watch as hot and humid temperatures invade the Philadelphia metropolitan area for tomorrow. Now, this hot and humid air mass is going to continue to build and expand towards the East Coast over the next several days. So what does that mean for us? Well, okay, this is basically what we can expect here. We're going to be on the edge of this heat wave. Notice we still have this trough over the Canadian Maritimes, and that's going to mean that disturbances are going to try to move through the northern mid-Atlantic. But we're also pretty much under the influence of this powerful ridge. So while we're not going to see the hottest temperatures over the New York City and Philadelphia metropolitan area, and thank God, because, well, who wants to see 110 to 120 degree temperatures? We will see temperatures ranging above normal, ranging from the upper 80s to lower 90s, possibly lower to mid 90s along the immediate coast, depending if we see a sea breeze or not, and mid 90s for most locations away from the coast. I would not be surprised if we see some upper 90s here and there at various days, depending on the direction of the wind and a combination of mesoscale or small scale factors. The overall point here is that hazy, hot, and humid weather conditions will be in place starting tomorrow and continuing on through this weekend and into next week. That also means, because it's going to be very hot and humid, that the threat for an isolated thunderstorm here and there in the afternoon will be possible. Nothing widespread, but hey, this is the summer and you got warm air rising, and that produces a threat for thunderstorms. So yes, there will be a threat for an isolated thunderstorm each afternoon in this type of weather pattern. And as you can see moving forward, that this weather pattern really doesn't change heading on all the way through the 4th of July weekend. So basically what we can expect is a continuation of temperatures in the 90s all the way through the 4th of July weekend into, well, basically from Wednesday all the way on through next Saturday. This hot and humid weather pattern will be dominating. So if you have plans to go to the shore for the 4th of July weekend, which will be a very long weekend because 4th of July starts on Wednesday and continues on, well, for most people all the way through Sunday, with a nice lengthy vacation. So if you're going to be down by the beach, it's going to be a perfect weather pattern for you. So that is a weather forecast for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. And I just want to add one little thing. For all of you who are premium members, you already knew about this heat wave on the way back in March. So if you are not a premium member and you want to get weather information you could trust on, especially weather information for the long range, you might want to check out NYNJPA Weather. That's your forecast for today. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow.